We're going to talk about creating the perfect beast. How do you do that? Well, in my opinion and my experience, we take some of the cutting edge stuff on movement pattern that's used a lot in clinical practice or supporting of sporting environment, and we move it into pure strength-based athletics. So we apply that into powerlifting, strongman, people that are moving significant weight. And those concepts that I'm referring to are dynamic neuromuscular stabilization. It's out of the Prague School of Medicine. And you go, well, what does that have to do with this series on squatting, Chris? Well, that's actually what we've been going over the last few sessions. So I've been giving you some extrinsic cues, basically external things to think about. But the goal and what I'm actually trying to do is stabilize your spine, which is some of the basic pieces, tenets that we have to work on. So we're doing that through creating intra-abdominal pressure using both diaphragmatic, the diaphragm, and the pelvic floor. And then we're also engaging our transverse abdominals, our obliques, our psoas to create deep spinal stabilization. So that's what we've been doing, just from a conceptual standpoint, knowing where we're coming from, what we're applying. And we're putting that to use. Now, the first session we really talked about how to do that. The second piece we went into, what can you do from there? How can we take that and actually bring that all the way up to where the bar's on your back? So we talked about hand position and what you can do with engaging your lats and what you can gain from that. And I got a lot of reports back from people basically going, I've got immediate gains on my squat. I've been squatting in pain for years and it's gone. This is exactly what we're looking for. People that have been injured responding saying, dude, I just walked into the gym and set a 30-pound PR like it was nothing with zero pain. That's what we're talking about. That's how we create a beast. Now, that piece on shoulder mobility that we went through and how it affects the T-spine, it gets more into depth than that. So one, we want to maintain that position, but we want to get really into that optimal position. And a lot of us as strength athletes struggle with getting that optimal bar and hand position. And there's a reason for that. So as strength athletes, we almost always have a pressing movement that's in bad position. And by that I mean, we're doing an overhead press in strongman, and even to Olympic lifting to some level. But notice, I've got that flared T-spine, right? Bench pressing in powerlifting. If you watch any of my bench press videos, I actually go through and have you set up in basically bad position, bad movement. But we're strength athletes. We want to move a lot of weight, and it does allow us to do that. But we are dealing with an open chain movement. By that I mean, we're not touching like a wall or the floor, it's closed chain. So we've got a bar that can move around. So we're open on this side. We've got no balance on this side. No stability, really, that's what I mean, no stability. But on the other side, down here in the core, now we're flared, we've lost some of our core. So we're transferring power through our shoulder, yet we have no stability on either end. So what our body is gonna do, it's gonna start tightening up. And that's where we end up with, that frozen back, that tight scapula, or even a lot of shoulder pain that we see in strength athletes because we're, that joint is basically getting destabilized, decentrated. That's where that comes from. So I'm gonna give you a couple tricks today. I'm gonna give you one that right now you're gonna walk into the gym and you're gonna be able to get in better bar position than you've ever been able to do. And you're gonna hate me for it. So, because it's gonna be very humbling and from a very silly exercise that we're gonna go through. So, I want you to do a simple test and retest methodology, because otherwise you're gonna go, what happened? So when you go to the gym, the first thing I want you to do is step up to the bar and try to get as tight a position as you can. Keep locked in. Feel how tight those shoulders are. Feel if you've got any shear stress through the elbows. Get in position, okay? Feel what that feels like. Then you're gonna go move the movement that we're gonna go through. And that movement is an RNT squat. So it's a reactive neuromuscular training. And basically that just means we're going to engage a little bit of resistance to cause some some firing that wouldn't normally happen to get us in an optimal movement pattern. So I've got this band here, and I'm gonna do essentially an overhead squat. This is a tiny, tiny band. You can use a TheraBand even. You don't want a lot of tension. I see a lot of people when I do this, they'll walk way back or use a really heavy band. We don't want that. Just the minutest amount of tension. And basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into squat position, except overhead with the band. And then we're gonna squat. But we're gonna wanna do all the things that we talked about. Practice that pressurization, firing those, inflating those obliques, drawing down to lock in that T-spine and holding this position. I wanna practice this stuff, okay? And then we want to engage without losing that T-spine position, engage and pull back with that upper back. So we're gonna wanna stay locked out with the arms and keep the arms overhead. And you're gonna have to constantly go through these cues, one after another after another. So as soon as you think about them, arms locked out, pulling back, T-spine locked in, pressurized, sitting back. You guys all know how to squat that are doing this, I'm assuming. So, and then right back through those cues again. We want to target 2 sets of 20 on this. You may really struggle with achieving that at first, but I really want to make sure that you get at least a couple sets of 10 in when you're doing the test, retest. And you're going to feel, well, besides hating me because it's extremely difficult, and then I'm going to have Greg demonstrate this here in just a minute. So, R&T squats, they're going to make a big difference today in what you do. This is what, now for myself, not everybody needs to do this, but if you have limitations, you need to improve your shoulder mobility before squatting, this does the trick immediately. So go ahead and get up into position, arms overhead, like this, elbows locked out. He's gonna fire those tries, get this nice and straight, and he's gonna be pulling back in this area here, right here. But he's also gonna do exactly what we've been talking about. He's gonna maintain this T-spine position. He's gonna pressurize those obliques, those lower abdominals, and he's gonna hold that. Think about all those things that we wanna focus on while we're squatting, everything that we've done in the last 2 sessions. And now he's gonna squat. This looks really easy, but it's not. Walk over here. You can see Greg sweating already. He's only done 2 reps. He might have been sweating a little bit first, but I guarantee you are going to be humbled if you do this. So I say it's hard because I want you to do something while you're doing this. You need to focus continually. Your elbows, lock your elbows out. Good. Pull back. Good. All right. Keep the T-spine in. All right. Pressurize. Constantly go through those again, over and over again. Elbows locked out. Pulling back. Mentally. T-spine in. Pressurize. Oh yeah, new beads of sweat forming. This is brilliant. Oh yes. Okay. So this is a band R&T squat. Try to do 20. You're going to hate me. And you're not going to be able to do 20 your first time. But if you can work towards 2 sets of 20, and that will dramatically improve your ability to get into the bar. So now we're going to retest. Go back to the bar again, retest. Anybody who watches my videos sees that I don't do a lot of static stretching. Most everything is movement based. But I do some static stretching to improve bar position, simply because there's only one day separating my bench day to my squat day. So oftentimes, if I've had a heavy bench day, my pecs are pretty tight. So I'll do a basic wall stretch right here and try to open up. Now, notice my hand almost automatically goes to right here. I'm cueing this to lock in. Just all the same discussions that we've had. If you do this, you actually feel that a lot more in that, in your scapula, your upper back as you stretch through. But I'll do that if I've got those tight pecs, just as, post-workout DOMs, that sort of thing. So that may or may not be part of my routine. Now, we talked about the overall impact of some of the things that we do as strength athletes and what it does to our shoulders, our shoulder mobility, our shoulder health. So the next thing I'm going to show you addresses all of that in the long term. It reverses everything that we do. It engages all the muscles that support the entire the shoulder system while it moves it through that range of motion. So it's a very unique exercise and methodology. We've actually been developing it the last couple of years. And we do that with the shoulder rock and the shoulder rock training system. So this is the shoulder rock. I've got one loaded up. You change the you load weights on it.
The shoulder rock training method actively mobilizes the shoulders through the entire range of motion, opening up the scapula, subscap, and simultaneously engaging and developing all the muscles involved in stabilizing the shoulder and integrating it into the core. This approach provides superior long-lasting improvements in shoulder function and development. Get stronger, lift more, function better with the shoulder rock.
And we're going to do a demonstration on this as well. So I'll do a quick one just because I love doing them. So if you go look online, you can see some stuff on mace swings and things like that. This system and the approach to how I do these is specifically targeted at addressing those problems with strength athletes. So the shoulder rock is going to come with a DVD that's an instructional piece that's going to go in depth on the content of how to use this in a manner that actually corrects those things. Within a month of using it, nearly everybody that I've had has had substantial, long-lasting gains in shoulder health. I've dealing with using a lot of different methods over the years with reseating the shoulder, achieving good joint centration, and doing it like before my bench workout or in the middle of my bench workout when the pain came back. And that stuff worked, but it never had a long-lasting gain. It immediately would go back to where it was because I wasn't addressing the root issue, which was we talked about, lifting in a manner, transferring power through the shoulder with no stabilization on either side of the shoulder. So this addresses that. And how we do it actually integrates it into the core while we're moving through the entire range of motion and working the muscles. So that system is very important. Now, if you look, the shoulder rock isn't available just yet, but in the next couple months you should be able to find this on Elite FTS. Like I said, it's going to have a level of content that isn't like anything else in the industry that is similar to this. And it's also going to include a piece from the clinical side of the practice as well, so not just the strength athlete. So be looking forward to that. So I'm going to stand over here. So Greg's going to be doing the things that we've talked about. He's going to have that T-spine locked in, and you're going to see how he's going to open up the shoulders all the way through. So you can see he's opened up through the subscap, working all the way through the range of motion there, and actually having to engage those muscles that we talked about from firing that squat, bending the bar, doing those things. So this is a great movement that you can do multiple times a week, and this is going to have the sustained improvement on shoulders. So the first one we went through is a great tool to use and use on your training days. This one is going to offer you sustained improvement in your shoulder mobility, shoulder health, and strength of your shoulders. It's going to work the entire shoulder girdle, all the supporting structure.
What's nice about this is it's not only just a mobility drill, we're obviously strengthening as we talked about, but it becomes a very active warm-up. So it's not like you're doing extra work, rolling around. You get done with this and you feel ready to train.
I know, it feels super awkward if everyone's silently watching.
You've got your heart rate up and you're ready to hit the floor.
I see beads of sweat.